Welcome to NBA 2K25's breakdown on finishing. We've been showing you guys the mechanics, doing a big tutorial masterclass, and today's video is going to add to that by giving you something that's important for dunkers and layup artists. And overall, it's going to just help you be a better player once you understand the mechanics. And we're going to dive into it heavily. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to discuss, so let's go deep down the rabbit hole as we continue. Hope you enjoy this one. Get it? So, first things first, we're talking about layups. As you can see here, layup styles is super important because you're doing Euro steps, you're doing hop steps, your floaters, and there's so much layers to this, scoops and things like that. Okay. And the actual layups themselves are also very important. So we got, as we do every year, kind of breaking down the best value on each of these as much as possible. We're not going to go through every single one. I'm going to point out some ones that I personally really love and then some that are decent depending on your playstyle. Of course, if you're a big man and all of that stuff. So we got a lot to cover. So stay tuned for that. Oh, by the way, be doing full game giveaway for those who don't have NBA 2K25. If you're watching this, wow, shout out to you. And if you do have it and you want some VC, also got you there. Go to the description and see that and try to enter. Good luck to you. Now, I want to just say first things first. Hey, man, just have fun, okay? There are some very cool, wild layup packages. And when I play, I'm not there to just stunt all the time. Once in a while, I'll get on and I'll just say, hey, let me just put on something outrageous and have fun with it because it is a video game. But if I'm competitive and I'm trying to play competitively, this is what this video is going to help with more to understand the best value for your play style and what you need to do. So we're going to kind of go through all this. Going to start off with Trae Young. This is going to be for the smaller guards. Of course, you got to be 6'5" or under, and you have to focus on being smooth, man. He's probably not able to dunk as good. And even if you are dunking, his hop steps and things like that are going to be important. The spins, the hop steps, the Euros, all that comes into play. And so for me, the layups are decent. They're pretty fast. You can see right here, he's just scooping it up. Super easy to do and solid. Okay. His floaters are impeccable. All right. Like they're some of the best in my opinion. So if you like floaters and that's your game, the reason I started with him is for smaller guards. You're able to pull this out and make it work. Okay. That's where you have to choose though. Again, if that's something you feel, then go for it. The things that I'm not necessarily giving it a grade that I don't feel too great about are like the hop step and Euros with him. I feel like they're the most dynamic and things like that. Right. And so that's just how I feel. And then we're gonna get into again staying within the small guys realm. Let's work on Morant. So with Morant, you know, his layup packages are pretty wild on some of them. Some of them are really good. And to me, it's situational. Okay. You have to be able to know how to pull out his layups when to trigger specific ones. And that's a whole nother masterclass. And I've been teaching that as well. But this is something you got to pay attention to and kind of say, okay, what do I need to do for Morant? You could see these crazy acrobatic ones. You got to have somebody on your hip when you do half of these. You got to have somebody on your left side for most of them. So it's kind of situational when it comes to him. But that floater, I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, the floater is nice. You can see right there, just a nice quick floater. No extra animations. When I'm looking for animations, I don't want to get blocked. I want to be able to be faster than the player. They can't figure me out. So the animations matter. And the float is fast. The scoop, it's okay. But that's what I got. Okay. When it comes to him. Then we're gonna stay in the small guys. Let's see who we got. I want to look for our buddy, the main man. And again, if you're here, man, just sit back and put on some of these animations and test them out while I talk and say, yeah, he's right. Then give your opinion on what you're feeling or you're thinking. All right, we're going to get into Dame. I think Dame's layup package is nice enough. Like you can see, just straight up lays, pretty simple stuff. You're going to do this if you don't have nobody really guarding you. You're just like, let me do a quick lay that way. Okay, most of the time, let's be real, you want to do a scoop so you won't get blocked, a floater so you won't get blocked. Like you're not just throwing the ball up hoping it goes in. If you're pressing square on every play for layups or dunks, I told you don't do that. Use the right stick. It's not that hard, right or left, away from the defender. It's pretty common sense. So for me, his layups are really nice because they're just smooth. Like I'm in a fast break, I'll just do a quick layup. I don't have to dunk it if I don't have any dunk packages. Right? But the scoop and the float is very nice as well. As you can see right here, when he does, you got to pay attention. That float right there is pretty straightforward. And I think he's a good one to pick as well. When it comes to small guys, now, I do want to kind of touch on like a Kyrie. I didn't get into too much details about each of them. There's so many, to be honest with you. I would have to be here all day. But Kyrie, you can see he's got some wild ones. Again, these are not bad, but you have to be a good player to know, oh, he's coming up to challenge me. Let me go and do this reverse up and under. And that can work for that. But I'm not recommending it because that's a skill gap in itself. You understand? So those are the type of things you got to pay attention to and know like, okay, well, I don't really want to do it. And we're not going to give you guys rundown on every single setup because we'll be here all night. But that's just the idea of some of these smaller guys. And if you have some better recommendations, for example, like Russell Westbrook, outrageous here. He's pretty fast. He's aggressive. So this is a good play style. I've used him last year a little bit for one of my builds just to have something different. And then felt pretty comfortable with his layups. You can see they're super aggressive. There's nothing that's like, oh, let me get blocked. It's like, I'm coming at you. And this could be really good if surprise a defender instead of just being a typical player. All right. And then we're going to get into some of the bigger guys. And my favorite, I think y'all probably seen this last year. I don't know why I love him so much. This man right here, Levine. Levine, for some reason, has dominated for me the last 2 years. When it comes to layup packages. And then overall, actually, this year, some of his dribbles are actually insane, by the way. But that's a different guy that we do have coming this week. So basically, Levine has pretty much an A to me on everything. There's not much. His spin is a little slower, but as you can see right here, these lays are pretty smooth, simple, straightforward, and you know, some of them are super aggressive. Some of them are a little more like, okay, I got you. And you love this about him. One thing I can say is that for dunkers like myself, you know, his hop step, his Euro, amazing. Okay, so you're going to be dunking on people with it, and it's going to be the best possible move you can do, in my opinion. Overall, I love it. So, guaranteed a good pickup overall, no matter what, if you're a wing player. And again, the height, you have to be under 6'10" to 6'6", in between there. So, and then of course the rating, you can look at this yourself. It's all in the game. It's not like I'm showing y'all some secret exclusives. This is official stuff. And we're gonna go with Lonzo Ball here. Again, another one that has some decent stuff. For me, Lonzo Ball is good for a dunker because his hop steps and his Euro steps are really nice. And you can just finesse and get some work done with that. His floaters are also really good. You can see it's just a quick one if you watch this. I know it's going fast, guys, but the floater's very nice as well. I don't like his scoop. Definitely not. I don't know like a lot of people's spins, to be honest with you. There's not like many people's spins that I'm going to give a good grade for. Spins are harder to do this year, but they're rarely good and effective when you do hit them. So you want to practice that. But yeah, I can definitely put him up there as one of the nice, um, taller players. Speaking of taller players, let's go with the Devin Booker. Again, this is for wing players. Devin Booker's layups, you can see they're a little bit outrageous. Like, what are you doing, brother? You're a professional player. That looks like me doing some layups, man. Sometimes, you're off balance. You're just throwing it up there. I do some better layups than this sometimes, and it just doesn't feel good. So at least not from what I feel there. And even his floaters are like a little too aggressive, and he can basically get blocked. I don't like anything about his stuff when it comes to the layups. And shout out Devin Booker. Actually, I use a lot of his dribble animations and his shooting stuff. So he's incredible as a player. These layups are not it though. Just gonna say. And back in the day, if you guys know me, I used to rock heavy duty, the king of the Euro. Well, at least for guards and stuff, for wing players. James Harden. James Harden is phenomenal for the Euro. I mean, he's known for this, right? Like, that's one of his best moves. They say he travels all the time, but so this is important to kind of put this into your game. I have the mechanics video, but the Euro step you can do for layups, you can do for dunks. And what it does sometimes, it'll just let you blow by somebody, or it'll let you stun them if you have decent overall setups on that. And then you can get your dunk or your layup. And that's where, again, being a finisher, being able to know how to trigger this. We already taught you this on the last video. But you do this, you're going to be incredibly solid. And I like him specifically for dunkers because his hop step's good and then his Euro's amazing. Those are the only two things you need. Now, if you're just a finisher and you don't have any dunks and you're just going for layups and you're literally using for the layup package, then I don't really like his floater and his layups. You can see these layups are kind of a little bit just like Devin Booker. No offense, man. But I would use him just to dunk, basically. And that's kind of what I do. I have builds where they're just dunking builds. I can do layups if I have to, but mostly I'm trying to dunk on somebody. It's fun. It's a part of video games. And of course, I always talk about Kobe, and I'm going to do that this year. I tend to get about putting him in the category of the conversation, but his layup package is one I used for years, for many years. I'm well versed in it. I don't think his layups are for everybody. They're super aggressive and they're pretty easy to block on some of them. Mostly the lays are pretty rough, but everything else is solid on him. You can do scoops very good. You can do spins, Euros. He might be the best spin artist, for wings. And so his Euros, his hop steps, the main things that you're going to be using. For me, I if I do a layup, I like to do in a scoop at all times, for the most part. And then unless it's a situation where I can't handle it. And then as far as hop steps, spins, and Euros, those are for dunks. I do that mostly for dunks, if I can. Yep. All right, so now we're gonna start talking about a couple of the big men, and maybe y'all not here for that because not a lot of people focus on this. But if you are a big man and you're like, okay, this man's talking to me now, let's get into it. So you see Sabonis here. Sabonis is 6'10" or higher. Again, the rest of this piece of this here. And by the way, we have more tips coming out after this, just to talk about all this. So make sure you stick around. Don't think that, oh, I'm done. He gave me my wingman stuff. Come on, man. But Sabonis here, one thing I like about Sabonis is that even though he's a big man, you can do good scoops. You can do good floaters with him. And this is a good mechanic because people don't expect the big man to go up with floaters. They don't expect you to do scoops. They expect you to go in hard, go to do a drop step and get a dunk or something like that. So if you become a finesse player like Joker, which we're going to talk about later, he's probably right next after this, then you're going to be scary out there because how do you guard a big man who can finesse you? Like back in the 90s, Yao Ming you know, showcasing his skill and stuff like that. So for me, I like him for the finesse ones. I don't like him as much for like spins as much or his actual layup package. But the rest of it, you know, finesse wise, he's really nice and it can be very useful for you. All right. All right. So we're going to go to Joker and we're going to talk about, again, more finesse. And what does he do right? The scoops and the lays. He's pretty fast. You can see right there. He just flicks it up there. It's like he's playing volleyball. He throws the ball up very quick with his floaters, and then his scoop is also extremely fast. So you won't get blocked if you know how to hit floaters consistently. And so I love that. I definitely am not feeling his euro. It's like he is a little chubby. You can see right there. It just doesn't sit well with me. And then everything else is pretty much average. So I'm not necessarily focused on him. Kind of like Sabonis a little bit better. But again, some of the animations, it also depends. And that's where I'm going to get into some tips in a minute. But it also depends on your play style and what you're trying to do out there and stuff like that. So make sure pay attention to that. And we want to get into somebody who we always talk about when it comes to Euros. And I love his Euro. We're going to start off with the main thing of his play style, which is the Euro. We know him in real life and then in the game. The Euro, you know, he's evolved over the years, but his Euro is special because I feel like he's super aggressive and he takes up a lot of space. So if you really want to do that and be a good finisher, I honestly recommend him for the bigs. Remember, 6'10" or higher for these ones that I'm recommending. And then for the layups are really smooth. You can see right here, these are smooth, easy layups. And once you know how to trigger a specific layup, you'll be fine. You know, you got to be able to use that right stick and trigger them as best as possible. Again, you can see that spin is terrible. I don't like his spin. So that's one big flaw. But the rest of it is decent. And you're able to dominate with it. And so, you know, figure it out, see what you're feeling, and then get into it as you go. Now, I want to kind of just skim through a couple people. You know, Curry, goated, of course. He's very short, but he's very fast. He's actually decent with finishing. But I wanted to get into just some topics about like weird ones. You know, why use this guy where he's outrageous? Again, like I was saying, if you want to have fun and do some wild stuff, make some clips, it is nice to just try other people who you probably won't test out that much. I had the game like 5 days early. So I was literally testing all of these and trying to master what I'm feeling right now this year. But everybody's different. You can see right here, Allen Iverson, just some wild stuff that you can do and have fun with. I'm not saying to use them, but again, like even Michael Jordan, I don't recommend all the time. And I love him unless you're doing a Michael Jordan tribute and you just want to play like Mike and have fun. It's totally fine to do that. That's my favorite layup right there. The reverse under the rim. Top tier stuff. None of these are wrong in that regard. Okay. So just figure it out and go from there. Derrick Rose, for example, I love his hop step floaters, and some of the stuff he does is incredible. It depends on the player. You know, they're gonna go behind their back. They're gonna do moves that you're like, oh, you know, wow, that's amazing. For example, I always joke about Jason Williams' bad layups, but everything else he can do some fun, flashy stuff. And so being able to know what's best for you is more important than just me recommending, oh, you have to use this or you have to use. And so those are just some guides and some valuable ones, like standard ones that I always test thoroughly, that I use on and off all year. And this year's a new year, and I'm testing all of these now. And it's literally 10 days for me or something like that. Maybe a week since I had the game. And game's officially out only 2 days, you know, now that I'm going to post this. So, you know, that's what we got so far. And we got a lot more coming for you guys. I'm going to do some dunk package ones. If you like this a lot, that video is literally right now, next. So you can check that out, but also make sure you go into the giveaway so you can get a chance to win some VC and get a full game if you don't have it. Okay, those are the key things that we're trying to do and give you guys the best possible outlook. So enjoy yourself out there. Go check out the next one, which is going to be for dunk animations, best value, best setup, best everything. Trying to really test that and give you guys the fundamentals. See you on that next one. Stay safe out there. Stay blessed. Peace.